you might want to look elsewhere. I'm going to label this as lo-fi, um, but I just wanted to put that out there to start. Anyway, you may notice that my records are not on the walls anymore. I'm taking those 6 as well as some of the other ones that I have. I don't have that many, and I also don't actually listen to them. I collect records for albums that I already love, which some people find odd, but think of them more as a decoration than as an actual useful thing. But anyway, okay, let's get started. Wow, these are pretty dusty actually. Well, this is also a cleaning, I guess. Alright, first up we've got Dawn FM by The Weeknd. Probably the most mainstream album that I own. Yeah, when this came out in 2022, I wore it out a lot. It's one of my most listened to albums, because I have a lot of albums that I love, but I don't listen to very much. This is one that I could still play front to back pretty much any time and love it. I was a fan of his previous album. It's like the most popular album ever. There's like 3 songs with like 2 billion streams or something. And the last album is great. I can't remember the name of it. It's like I can't remember it. But Dawn FM is an excellent album. It's a lot of like 80s revival type stuff. There's some interludes from Jim Carrey, which I think is a really interesting thing to do. I usually skip those songs, but I really like Phantom Regret. I think that's an awesome like ending to an album that is otherwise pretty mainstream, and it kind of gives it an artistic quality that I like a lot. I'll pick my favorite song off every album as well, so I'm gonna say Less Than Zero for this one, though I really love How Do I Make You Love Me. Okay, next up is... This one's a lot less dusty. I don't know why Dawn FM had so much dust on it. Maybe because it's black. I don't know. Next up is To Pimp a Butterfly by Kendrick Lamar. This is, I think, what a lot of people consider to be like the best album ever made. I think it's like the highest rated album on Rate Your Music, and you know, a lot of people have given it a 10, or you know, it's like their album of the decade or whatever. I love it, obviously. I mean, you know, it's kind of hard to find faults with an album so deep and, you know, deep and complex as this one. You know, there's massive, you know, stretches of this album that are just absurdly high quality. Like, the production on this is really good. Like, better than probably any album I've ever heard. It's just so, like, lush and vibrant, and songs like, you know, How Much a Dollar Cost, Hood Politics, I really like Institutionalized. These Walls is awesome, but okay, the song that I've listened to the most is How Much a Dollar Cost, but my favorite song is Mortal Man. Maybe one of my favorite songs ever. The interview with Tupac at the back of it is insane. It's like, wow. It's really the first time that I recognized music as like a pure art form when I first listened to this. For a lot of my life, music was just like the thing that sounded good to my ears, but this is the first time I truly discovered, like, oh my god, music can be like beautiful and complex this is the third Tame Impala album that I fell in love with. We'll get to the other two later, but I have a really soft spot for Lonerism. His first two albums are so different from his second two albums. It's really like a night and day difference. They feel really different. This feels really summery to me. And I love the back of it too. I don't usually see that. This is also a great album cover. I haven't mentioned the album covers yet. The one over the Typical Butterfly one is great, but this one is also excellent. I just love the through the bars, and you can see like the scene there. It's really nice. A favorite song on this one, I think it might be Music to Walk Home By. That one is so good. I also like Keep on Lying. That's another good one. 2021 was sort of the year that I listened to Tame Impala a lot. The three albums that I love the most, his three most recent ones, I wore the hell out of them in 2021, and I still love them a lot. But yeah, so that's Lonerism. Really great psychedelic rock album. Probably like the best intro to that genre you could get. Maybe like Revolver from the Beatles is like a better one if you want to get like the history of it. But I love this one. Okay, moving on. That was a little loud. I'm actually surprised at how quiet it's been. Okay, moving on. We've got Clairo. This is my most recent pickup. Charm by Clairo. I love this cover so much. Like, she's slaying so hard. One of my favorite album covers ever. It's like really intimate. Not like sexually, but like it just feels like, I don't know. It feels like she's taking you into her world. It feels like she's like taking you into her world, you know? I mean, Sexy to Someone is a really easy pick for my favorite, but I also really love Thank You and Out of My Love. Yeah, those are probably my three, but if I had to pick just one, I'd probably do Sexy to Someone. That's sort of my, like, if I'm playing one song from the album, it would probably be that one. So yeah, here's the back as well. Pretty artsy. There's like track 1, 2, 3. So they're kind of spread out in a weird way. Okay, moving on. Next we've got The Slow Rush. My roommate gave this to me for my birthday. And I was like, wow, that's actually so cool, because I love this album. If I had to put it, like, if I had to give a number to it, it'd probably break the top 5, I would say. Both Currents and The Slow Rush would probably be in my top 5. But anyway, if we're talking about album covers, this one is absurdly good. I am obsessed with it. The sand just like invading this room is so cool, and like the light sources here, like, oh, such a good picture. Like, I don't even know how this was made. If this was like an actual photo, I think it's based on a photo, but it's obviously like edited a lot to look, more striking. But yeah, just an incredible. I know some people think that this isn't as good as Currents, and while I do think it's not nearly as good, I think it's still extremely good. I think it's only slightly worse than Currents. If I had to pick a favorite, it's either the first or last song. I would say One More Year or One More Hour. Incredible, like bookends. I'm obsessed with how they bookended this album. It's such a good frame to work in. The like perception of time and like how your memories start to fade and how time just sort of like passes us by. Like time never stops moving, and that's sort of the idea behind this album. And I really just can't get enough of it. Excellent album. Alright, what we've got here is probably the best album cover of all time, in my opinion. It's somehow even more striking than the slow rush. The lines that are all coming down here so straight and narrow that are just like absolutely destroyed by this giant ball that's like sinking. It's like a black hole. It's like a black hole that's like the ball is like sinking down. It's being pulled down. Oh wow, the back of this is very different. The tracks are very small up here, and there's just, this whole deal. This is another really tough favorite. I'm gonna go with Let It Happen. I don't know if you can tell, but I really like opening and closing tracks in albums. I think they're really good. Yeah, I would say that Let It Happen kind of changed my life. It was the first Tame Impala song that really made me go, oh my god, this is so hypnotizingly good. I have a very specific memory of being in my old house, walking downstairs and looking out the window and seeing it like thunderstorming really hard during like the breakdown of this song of Let It Happen, and just thinking like, oh my god, what an incredible moment that I'm like in right now. Similar things have happened since. So yeah, Tame Impala. I think we're done on Tame Impala now. But yeah, big fan of Currents, probably my favorite album of all time. Now the remainder of these I do not have up there, and some of them I bought, and some of them I like found for really cheap. Here's one of the ones I found for cheap. Michael Jackson's Thriller. Actually, I think my grandpa had this, and he was like, I don't need any of these records anymore. Do you want some? And I found this one, and I was like, well, yeah. I mean, Thriller is just great. It's one of the older albums that I have. I'm pretty sure this is like from when was this album released? It's, somewhere in the 70s or 80s, right? I can't remember the exact time. But yeah, this is just, a great album. One that kind of one that was like so massive. I think this is one of the best selling albums of all time. I think Thriller is my favorite. I don't think that there is anything better on here. Billie Jean is pretty good. But yeah, so that's Thriller. I am a big fan of it. But it's not like, it's not one of my favorites. I just understand that it's a very, important album. Okay, next we've got something that used to be up on my wall. Low End Theory by A Tribe Called Quest. One of my favorite hip-hop albums of all time. Probably 2 or 3 in the number 2 or 3 spot. Just such a chill, fun time. There's a lot of variety within the same genre that I think is at play here in this album, and I really like it for that. It doesn't change the vibe too much throughout, which makes it really easy to listen to front to back. There is one song that hasn't aged very well that I won't say, but I think you'll know what it is when you listen to it, or if you've already listened to it. My favorite is probably We've Got Jazz, or Jazz We've Got. I also like Scenario, Check the Rhyme, and Butter. Those are some of my favorites, but yeah, just a really solid album, great cover. I also really like Midnight Marauders, but this one is probably better, I think. Yeah, so, Low End Theory. Okay, I have a confession about this. I was gifted it a few years ago, and I've still not listened to it. I'm really sorry. I like Pink Floyd. I love Dark Side of the Moon and Wish You Were Here, but that's all I've listened to so far. I do plan to listen to Blink Floyd at some point, but not yet. So yeah, sorry, I haven't listened to this one yet, but I have listened to this one. This is the first record I ever bought. I actually bought this in it's in Tennessee. I forget what city it was. It was either Memphis or the other big one that I can't think of right now. But yeah, a few years ago, my family and I went on a road trip, and we walked into a record store, and I bought this because I had listened to it a few times, and during this vacation, I was sort of discovering new, really old school albums that I enjoyed, and this is one of them. So I listened to this, and I was just laying on my floor, but then when I listened to it again after having bought the album, I really think I started to appreciate how good it is. This would probably also make the top 5. I know everybody loves this album, right? It's everybody's favorite Pink Floyd. It's everybody's favorite 70s album. It's everybody's favorite album cover. But there's a reason for that, and it's because it's really good. Probably the best sequenced album ever, maybe. It's definitely in the top few best sequenced albums I've ever heard. Yeah. So I will say that this one is definitely great. And I only have one more. So, oh right. So what is my favorite song from this album? Well, the track list isn't here. Here we go. It's inside. Look at the inside. Pretty nice. I would say that my favorite, honestly, it's probably Breathe in the Air. I love the opening to this album. I think it's awesome. Technically Speak to Me is before that, but Breathe is great. It just flows beautifully to the point where I don't even know where some of the songs start and end, especially when you get into side 2, Any Color You Like, Brain Damage, Eclipse. I feel like those all just kind of fade into each other, and that's not a bad thing. That's a really good thing. Okay, so yeah. Dark Side of the Moon. Okay, finally, we've got Inside by Bo Burnham. I was a pretty big Bo Burnham fan about 5 years ago. I'm not really too into him now, but I loved him at the time. And when his new special, Inside, came out, I watched it, and I really, really liked it. But more than that, I loved the songs. I really think that it's honestly a really well-made, comedy album. Probably the best comedy album I've ever heard. Yeah, I can't really think of one that's better. I've listened to a good number of comedy albums, and this one is Eyes on Me. And that's another thing that I actually really liked about Inside, is that some of the songs were more emotional than funny, and that was great because it actually provided a good tone throughout the special that I think a lot of comedy specials and albums that are trying to be funny miss, and that's having an emotional core. A lot of these things are just let's just be funny, and that can be great. But what really makes this album memorable for me is the emotional core. So yeah. That's most of the albums that I have. I have a few really old ones that are kind of just sitting around. Some Beach Boys. I think I have a Beatles album somewhere, but it's not really one that I like very much. It's just one that I found. Once again, that my grandpa was just you can have. So yeah. That's about it for this video. I hope that the sounds weren't too loud. I heard a lot of doors opening and closing. I'll try to edit them out as best I can, but we'll see what happens. I'm finding it really difficult to record super late at night, because I usually just want to go to bed by the time everybody else is in bed, because I have school and all that. So yeah. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to leave a like and also subscribe for more videos like this. Alright, I'll catch you guys later. Bye-bye. Wait, I almost forgot. If you're still awake right now, I'm really sorry. I tried my best. There we go. I've said my catchphrase or whatever. Okay. Alright, I'll talk to you guys later.